Hello everyone, welcome again to another episode of In the Shop. Today I actually have a build video for you, and we are going to be building a sifter attachment for my newest Meadows Mill that I just recently purchased last year. The purpose of putting a sifter on the mill is to increase production, increase efficiencies. By having two sifters, I can actually run two mills at the same time and also run two different colors of corn at the same time. And it's just gonna make things a little bit easier on me and better. So I wanna take a moment and talk about what I'm designing and building. I have done a little bit of design work before shooting this video because mostly that was just me drawing lines, and I didn't figure you would want to watch all that. So instead, I've gotten myself to a point where I can give you the design overview of what this sifter is going to look like. So this is the side profile of the sifter box. It's 32 inches long from one end to the other. You'll notice that this end is smaller than the other end, and that's designed on purpose. This sifter box is going to have two screens in it, a top screen and a bottom screen. The top screen is going to be a number 12, and the bottom screen is going to be a number 18. And those numbers of mesh match what I'm using in my other sifter. So that'll make sure that I have a consistent product, no matter which sifter I'm actually going to be using. This being the top, I intend to make a lid that goes on the top, and there'll be a hole for a sock that will connect to the mill. That's going to be a big improvement because it's going to make sure that the dust is contained within the sifter box itself. As the mill is running, it's blowing the material out, and it really just makes a dusty mess. So having a lid is going to be a big addition to this sifter box. Now the top screen is going to run the entire length of the sifter box. So it's going to run not quite 32 inches. I think it's like 31 7/8, because I'm going to have a 1/2 inch board on the back and a 1/2 inch board on the front, which will connect the two sides together. But this top screen is going to go from one end to the other. And anything that doesn't go through this screen is going to go out a hole on this end of the sifter box. And likely I will need to make a lip of some sorts to come out to help coax the material into the bucket. More on that to come. The top screen has a space, and I've currently designed it to be a 1/2 inch space between the top screen and the bottom screen. You don't really need a huge gap between the top screen and the bottom screen. But anything that goes through the top screen will hit the bottom screen. And anything that doesn't go through the bottom screen will move along, and it will come out an exit hole down here. And there'll be a bucket setting here, and the grits will go into this bucket. And so as you can see, these two buckets are going to be pretty close together, and so that's why I'm going to need a lip to extend this out a little further so that those overages go into the overages bucket and the grits go into the grits bucket. This is currently a 2-inch space, and I think that's more than sufficient for grits to come off. The grit screen is the frame along the side is nearly as long as the top screen, but the actual screen portion I think is around 28 inches long from one end to the other, and it'll come along and go that way. Now, anything that goes through the bottom screen is going to come down and it's going to hit a piece of metal that I'm going to have here at the bottom. And the idea is that it'll get shifted down to the large end and it'll come out into from a hole here into a bucket on the back end. Now, and that way I've got 1, 2, 3 exits for this frame. And so as the sifter box is moving like this, and this is really an exaggerated form, it really just kind of jiggles about like that. It'll be able to move product to and from pretty well, as it's moving like that. This is a little bit of a different design than the traditional sifter or bolter boxes that typically appear on mills. This is a design that I've kind of come up with that I'm hopeful is going to encourage the product to move the way that I want it to move. I have modified a traditional box with the 2 screens, and it works really well. So I feel pretty confident about this particular design and how it's going to work. This sloping at the bottom, I think, is really going to be helpful to move the product down and out of the sifter box. One of the things I wanted to do with this box is to make sure that I can take it apart after I'm done, because I want to be able to take and clean out the screens, and I want to be able to vacuum out the inside of the sifter box. So I'm going to be using a screen design that's available in a different video in this sifter box. And the idea is that the bottom screen, let me hold it up here. The bottom screen is going to, here we go. So you can see my X's. Those are going to be permanent blocks. So the bottom screen is going to slide under this block right here. And on the far end of the bottom screen, it is going to come into contact here, just above the exit hole. And of course there's a block here to support the screen and a block here as well, just to kind of define the exits. Now the top screen here, as you can see, it's going to rest on this block, and I haven't drawn it in, but there will be another block here to hold this screen in place, with some more adjustment screws back here to push the screen forward. Push it over to here. But yeah, this is what the sifter box is going to look like. Welcome back to day 2 to the sifter build project. I'm really trying to take my time and build this project and do a good job. So I'm going to be making this video over the series of how many ever days it takes me to do it. I am going to do things off camera and then show you what I've done. Otherwise, you would have 50 hours of me fiddling with little bits of wood, and you don't really want to watch that. So let me show you what I have done to the sifter box so far. You saw the side profile and how I had drawn all the items that are going to go in the box on the side profile. So I have now glued it together. I've glued and screwed all of the corners. I have also added some wood bits here inside, and they go all the way around the interior perimeter of this box. This bottom plate, for lack of a better term, is where the bottom screen is going to rest against. And I have glued or not glued them, I have screwed them in place. I will eventually glue them in place. I have also put together, let me slide that out of the way. I have also put together my frame pieces. So this is going to become the bottom frame of the sifter box. And I want to show you how I designed this frame. These are strips of wood that I have cut. They are 7/16 inches thick, and I've designed them to fit inside this box. Oh, I think it's raining a little bit. I've also cut these really fancy overlap joints. Well, they're fancy to me. That'll go in here like so. And where these overlap, this will be on the bottom of the frame. Okay. All right. And so it'll go together like that. And I'm going to glue and screw these together. The screen that is going to be stretched across this frame is not going to come all the way out to the end of these two long stretches. The screen is actually going to come to here, to this cross member. And I've designed this on purpose. As the grits flow down the screen, this is where they will exit the sifter box, is right across here. So let me put this in the box to orient this for you. So this can go like that. And this frame will sit in here, and this is a space where the grits are going to exit the sifter box. Not a really complex system. So my next step is I'm going to glue this frame together and do some sanding on all of my pieces. Welcome back to day 3 of the build. Last night I did do day 3 of the build. Now last night I did a little bit of work off camera, and I want to show you what I have accomplished so far. Yesterday I had cut the pieces to make the bottom frame, and last night I glued and screwed this thing together. So this is what the final frame looks like, and the screen is going to run from here to here on the inside. Now this frame sits down into this slot here, and it bumps up against this piece of wood at the front. And of course the grits are going to escape through this hole right here. Now I had to spend a little bit of time last night trying to figure out how the next frame was going to fit down in here. So what I came up with is this. This is a U-shaped frame, and what this does is it upside down. It fills the gap between the bottom frame and where the top frame is going to sit. I want the top frame to come all the way from one end of the box to the other. And I first thought about not even having this filler strip in here, but with this, the way this frame is made, the screen is going to mount directly to the top of this board that the frame's made out of. And that part's not going to do any sifting anyway. It's got wood underneath it, so nothing's going to go through it. So I figured that I might as well put in a filler strip to keep the product in the section of the screen that's actually going to be doing sifting. So we won't have stuff getting down in here. This filler strip is, well, yeah. This filler strip is going to keep it from coming over next to the side of the box here. And I think it's going to work really well. It's also going to add more support for the top frame that's going to go in here as well. And it just creates a nice layered sandwich effect inside here. I do plan on mounting this U-shaped filler strip to the bottom of the top screen. And I have cut the top screen pieces, and I have them here. And so I've got a back piece and a front piece, one long side piece and a second long side piece. And so as you can see, this is how the whole thing's going to go together, actually. And the top screen is going to run from the very back all the way to the very front, and I'm going to have a slot cut in here to encourage the things that don't go through the screen out the front. And so my plan for today is to glue and screw these frames together. And once that's done, I can think about the next steps. So I've spent a few minutes putting this frame together, the one that I was showing you, which has this bottom U frame and the top frame. I've only glued the corners of the top frame. This bottom U-shaped, I did not glue the corners. I then mounted the U-shaped frame to the top frame, and that's what it looks like. So pretty straightforward. Let me stand up so you can kind of see. You can see this one end has a little bit of a lip where the bottom frame, this bottom U, doesn't come all the way, and that's because this is going to sit on that block of wood that's in the box, and the product will exit out that way. The other end is, of course, square like that, because this is going to be the back end of the frame, the back end of the box, and the product will flow down this way, out if it's too big, or through if it's too small. And moving on to the next screen. So let me show you this inside the box. The bottom frame is already in here, haven't taken it out. And there we go. Snug as a bug in a rug, I would say. So this is where I've got the box. At this point, I am going to take a little bit of time to do some sanding inside, outside of all the different pieces. And the next thing that I'm most likely going to start to work on is here in the back and getting this tail piece built. Currently what I'm thinking about doing is perhaps some 2x6 or 2x4 type material and putting it together in some fashion that I think will work pretty decently here. So that's probably the next thing you'll see me do. I'm also going to give some thought to how this exit is going to look and work as well. So day 4, we'll be making some more progress. Okay, so I'm back again with more update about the Sifter build project. I've done a little bit of work off camera, and I've been working on this blank here, and it's gonna go here on the back. So this is my sifter box, and this end of the box is going to have this blank mounted to it, kind of like that. And this is what will attach the sifter to the mill. And it'll hang on this end, and there'll be I'll have to show it to you later when I make it, but it'll be basically a pin that sticks up off the mill that will actually do all the shaking, and this will just set right on it and shake like that. I took 2 2x6s, and I've got a 2x6 in the center, and then I split 2x6 and put it on either side to make a wider blank for this thing here. The back it's not the best work I've ever done. The back is kind of a little bit boogered up. So I'm going to cut out a shape for the back end of this. 2 particular reasons. One is just to lighten this a little bit in weight. And the second reason is just to make it attractive and a little bit more pretty, I guess. So I just hand drew this shape into it. It's not completely perfect, so I'm gonna cut this out with a jigsaw, and then use some rasps and stuff to kind of pretty it up and dress it up and make it look as good as I can make it. But this is what the final shape will sort of look like. There will be this piece, which is going to go about here, and so when it's completed, it'll look like that. So I'll end up with a bracket on the bottom of this board here to kind of add additional some additional support to mount the box to this, and it should help it out. I'm gonna cut out a little. I'm gonna dress it up and make it look pretty. So I'm gonna cut that shape out. This part on the bottom will come off, and it'll look like a bracket. Make it look pretty. I mean, if I'm here doing it, I might as well do a little extra work to kind of help it out. But this is kind of my next step that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take some time and cut these out, and then we'll come back and talk about how I want to finish it, and then eventually, mounting it to the box itself. So I've cut these pieces out, and it looks okay. I'm gonna have to do some extra work to kind of get it right, but I've cut it out, and it sort of looks like a silhouette of a person to some extent. But I've cut proud of the line, and I'm gonna sand these edges and address some of the continuity, or the symmetry between one side and the other, and see if I can't dress it up a little bit more and make it a little nicer. Looks like I can bring this edge in a little bit and make it a little more cut in and rounded. But we'll take care of that here in a second. This piece turned out really good too. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So roughly, this is what it'll look like. So not too bad. And I think this will work pretty well and be very substantial as it's connected to this thing. So I'm going to take a few minutes and work on this aspect of it, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've spent probably 30 minutes or so working on these pieces and getting them, trying to look as nice as possible. So here's what I've got so far. Got it all nicely shaped. I've been sanding on it, trying to make it as smooth as possible, and just wanting it to be look as good as possible, actually. This part here is going to be the bottom because it's got this this mistake that I made, so that's going on the bottom, and this nicer edge is going to be the top where you can actually see it. I've also been working on this bracket for the bottom, making it look pretty good. I think I've got a little bit more work I want to do to it, sanding wise, especially along these contours. Don't have to do this stuff, but I figure if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna try to make it as nice as possible. But this piece is going to mount right in the center, just like that, thereabouts. I haven't measured it or anything, but you can kind of see what it's gonna look like. Kind of like a futuristic starship of some sorts. Actually, of course, I've got it upside down. This is how it's actually gonna look when it's on there. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that, and then how it's turned out. So I think this thing is gonna work just fine. The next thing I wanna do is take some time to measure and mount these blocks to the business end of this sifter box. And I'm going to take some time trying to get it centered, get it where I want it to be. This being the top, this will be flush with the top of the box, I think. Again, I'm kind of working on it. I may decide to wait mounting this until I've kind of decided what I want to do with the top and see how I want to make it.